Oh, right, I had a quick question about why I am using the bones that I'm using on the faces of the heads. And it's just something that I started doing. It's just a choice. You have a way of, there's a lot of ways you can use the bones in Moho. One thing he was asking about is there's different ways of doing the eyes and the masking. If you're going to do masking, it's better to have your character um, just remove the eye sockets out. I would say remove everything. If you're going to do the masking, it's easy to remove everything off of the face, even the nose. I would keep, I guess on this one, I'm gonna some a little bit of texture here. And when you use an Inkscape, it's uh, I don't know. I just like the way that it blends on Inkscape a lot better, and it's just really quick to do it. But those are the things that I usually use. I use Inkscape and um, Paint. These are things that you can have more than one face. That was the other thing I wanted to say. Have a whole bunch of different faces for you can have different faces for different animations. It just depends on. This is a little bit too bright. It's good enough for now. So, if you're gonna do the masking, it's better to have. The other thing I like about Inkscape is when you do your setups for edit, duplicate. I can just duplicate everything that I just did on that face and add it to a different face. Because that's what we would end up doing. Um, so the one that I'm using in the one that I'll be going over the example, it has the eye spaces there, and I'll kind of go over why that is here in a second. The masking is good for some things, I've noticed. And then for other things, it's a little bit harder to kind of, for me, I should always say that, preference that with for me, because some people are very good at using the masking and uh, making that work really well for them. And none of these drawings are going to be perfect because I'm just highlighting some stuff here. People keep asking me about why things look the way they look. It's just because most of it's just a draft of what I want it to look like. It's not finalized or anything like that. It's just me drawing something and then me seeing how it looks really quick. Oh, and I'm not perfect. That should help, hopefully. I get a lot of questions about things that I don't really understand why they're asking me about why things look the way they do. I use a lot of different things to kind of put everything together. It was I wouldn't say difficult, but when you're doing everything by yourself, like a side project, or say you're working on the things you have to work for as your job, and then you're working on your own, those are two different things. So when I do things on my own, um, there's a lot of different methods that I'm using or putting together to kind of make a drafts because I need them, not them, but I need them to see what it's going to look like. It's just easier that way. And a lot of it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a draft to where they kind of see my vision of what it should feel and look like. If you don't have time to do, if you're to just do the whole thing on your own, great. You don't have to worry about it. Just make everything perfect and put it out. But if you're trying to get people to see your vision and your ideas, it's better to do a draft or a rough draft of what you're trying to get across. And if you're writing a script like I am, and you're writing all the parts, and you created all the characters, uh, you want them to kind of see all of that together. It's more important to have the script written and everything laid out and the characters done and the animation. Give them a drafted animation, and that's usually helpful for them visually to see what the look is supposed to be. But the animation when you're doing these, when I'm sending out drafts and things like that, it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's just what I've been working on. And paint is good. Someone told me paint, or paint is not XYZ. For me, it is. It does have like a kind of like a chalky look, and when I save things, it doesn't have the same quality. That's why I'll use the Inkscape when I want to add, but I want it to look kind of like I don't know, it's a weird look. It's a pencil sort of a look, but not pencil. I want it to look like it's drawn, but not drawn, sort of a thing. So it's a weird kind of texture that I'm trying to go for. Uh, say weirdly different. It's a mixture between things that look like you drew it by hand and some of the like the eyes and everything like that. They look like well, because they're vectors. If I'm rambling, I apologize. I've been up, up for a while. Happy holidays to everyone doing Thanksgiving and family stuff as well. All right, so if you're doing the drawing the way that I did this is the same thing. It's just basically the eyes are cut out. Um, and that's this one. So it kind of makes it easier. Depends on what I'm doing, but when the eyes are cut out, the bones that I set up, I can stretch those because of where the bones are. So if I take this face away here, you can kind of see where the bones are. The ones at the bottom of the face here are connected to this, start with this center bone. So there's the center bone or the first bone, and then there's two pieces that go out, but they're all uh, parented to that bone at the bottom. So that's where I start. So if you look at everything the way it's parented, hopefully they're all set. Yeah, it looks like everything's good. This is how it's set up. If you can see that, hopefully if I can take a still of that and kind of see how everything for the head is set up as far as the parenting. Right. So we got that. We can go back to normal. So when the head is in place and I am moving these bones, all of these are set up certainly for the faces to make certain expressions. And that's why I have them rigged the way they are. I can change things. There's usually actually I'm missing two bones. The one that goes, let's see if I can do this without messing up everything else. Hopefully, let's go back to start. Let's move these down. So I would add two more bones here. So one going from here and then over and go back to the center bone here and then bring this one here and then this over here like so. And then go back to the center to reconnect the other bones from here. And then this one goes up like so in the center. So now I would have to rig these the right way, reparent this to this bone, and then reparent this one to this bone here. I think that's all I would need to fix, hopefully, which this is these two go rigged there. Hit this one. Huh. So these, this one here should be rigged to this one here, which I think it is. Yep. All right, so hopefully that'll work now. See if it messed up any. Yep, messed up things big time. Stretched out the eyes. So let's go ahead and clear out this animation. Okay. So The reason why I do that is because I could use these 41 um, to kind of mess around with the eyes. Oh, I see what happened there. Gotta rig these all. We gotta add them all to the face because we have new ones. There we go. Okay, there we go. So when I move these, I can kind of squish the eyes in. Not too much to where it'll look weird, but I could make those changes here. If I added another bone, it could straighten out some of the stuff where the eye is kind of looks like it's bunching together. Um, but you'll have that motion there. I'll still have the ability to try to change the face or tuck in or tuck out the face on either side, which I really don't need right now. But if you pull this here, you can kind of play around with the eyes a little bit. So with the eyes, you can kind of play around with how you want the expressions to start to take place. And I kept the eyebrows separate. So I could maneuver that with a separate bone here on the side here, which I'd have them go up and down, um, and kind of manipulate them that way. The other way is you can go in and since they are on a layer, you can also use and kind of tilt whatever you want as far as like anger with the actual layer, and then with the bone you could, move up and down, and then you can shrink or you know, make them larger based on, what you want the face to do. And then going back to bone, you still have the ability to kind of change those around. So when you start to kind of manipulate everything together, you could start to make like changes to different aspects of the head and start to play around with things when you have the bone set up this way. I really don't mess around with the hair that much, but you can. Um, Usually, it's probably a good idea to keep the hair separate. When I say separate, I mean like cut this whole piece out, meaning that this. Let's make another one. And the reason why it's easier is because when I'll go back and show you in a second here. When you when you start maneuvering the face, there's some things that you want the hair to do where you really don't want the hair to kind of move the same way. Oops. So just have like I said, you can have many different heads for different animation. Just depends on what you're doing. So if I wanted to go ahead and eliminate this and change this head up where we just remove. And on the hair, it's probably a good idea to break these down piece by piece as well. Um, I'm not gonna really do it now, but you can cut these curves out so when you do have the hair movement, it's not just one solid piece. It'll work all together. If you have it at least broken down into, I don't know, maybe one big piece in the front and then one in the back, one in the back, uh, like three pieces maybe. And it'll be good for if you're trying to do like wavy hair while the character's moving. Copy. And again, you can play around with this. Like I have a lot of, I don't know, I do a lot of rough drafts of things and pieces and parts. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on what I'm doing. But say for instance, you wanted this hair to kind of move around. If you notice the head here is kind of moving. So if I wanted to move the hair, the head's moving, right? So what I can do here is import the other face here and we'll add the hair. And the bone's already there for the face. I'm gonna straighten this up. So weird, I don't know what does that. Okay, there we go. All right, so if I import the other face without the hair, and then the hair part separate.